we're going to, as we've gotten started from a standpoint of welcoming everybody, welcome everybody. It's good to see faces in our social distancing. I was just talking about, not being able to get, doing social media and webinars has become part of my business model over the last 2 years, but not being able to get up and go to a restaurant or not being able to go other places other than the grocery store and the post office has caused a little bit of anxiety, but I'm weathering through that. So the other thing I wanted to do was make sure that we introduce the participants who are going to be on here. We have Lynn Lewis, who is the program director for OMSDC, as well as Clifford Bailey, who is the president of NMSDC MBEIC Committee. And then Icy Williams, I am assistant, keep forgetting what I'm assistant vice chair to the MBEIC committee here in Cincinnati. And today, basically what we want to do is just kind of welcome everyone, be able to talk and see faces, as well as Lynn is going to share some announcements from OMSDC. And then we're going to get into the Fireside Chat and really try and have each of you provide what's going on in your world as it pertains to you as an individual, you as your family, as well as your business, and those impacts that are causing you to maybe stay up later at night than you normally had prior to the pandemic. Okay. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Lynn and to Clifford. If there are some national news that Lynn may not have, Clifford, would you share that as well? But I'm going to turn it to Lynn and let Lynn share what she's aware of from the OMSDC.
Hello, everyone. I'm also known today as Jackie O'Neill. That's my alias for the for the Zoom call. I'm using Jackie's login. But thank you guys for participating in our Fireside Chat today. I'm really looking forward to getting everyone's input on how OMSDC can be a better resource for you guys, because we really can't fulfill our mission if we really don't know what the needs are of our certified MBEs as well as our corporate members. So I'm really looking forward and excited to finding out what you guys are needing and what you're experiencing out there. And just for as an FYI, I am recording today's meeting because I do want to make sure that I don't lose anything that we shared today and want to use it as a reference point. Icy and I do to go back and ensure we are able to deliver on the things that you guys are needing. Also, I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that our VBOE, our Virtual Business Opportunity Expo, will be occurring on July the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Hopefully everyone has received that information to register. If not, please email me and let me know at louis@ohiomsdc.org, and I'll make sure that you do get the information for the conference. Or if you just want to go directly to our website and peruse around there, all the information is on our website as well. And that's ohiomsdc.org/BOE. Should be the link to take you right there to that. But we are well into the planning phase. We do plan to have professional development training and workshops. We'll also have a business expo, and we will have matchmaking opportunities as well. So the things that we'll be missing, unfortunately, will be the luncheon opportunity. We won't have a chance to have the wonderful lunch that we will normally have, as well as the VIP reception. But all the other components of the BOE will be there. The other thing I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of is that sponsorship opportunities are also available. So if you feel so inclined, we do welcome MBE sponsorships, and they are at varying levels as well. The sponsorship brochure is on our website also. And then as far as what's happening, also that we wanted to share with you guys is that PPP funds are still available. And the NMSDC Business Consortium Fund, which is the CDFI arm, Community Development Financial Institution, within NMSDC has funds available. And this is for all MBE certified, whether they're NMSDC certified or not. So we do encourage you guys to look forward to participating in that opportunity, applying through those funds as well. You can find that information on the NMSDC website, or if you guys have a pen and pencil, I can give you the direct link that you can go to for the BCF's website directly. That's www.bcfcapital.com/PPP-disclosure. And that will give you the information that if you're interested in applying for the PPP funds that are available through the Business Consortium Fund within NMSDC. And then last but not least, just wanted to let you guys know also that we are working on a workshop in collaboration with Fifth Third to bring something to you guys as well in regards to the PPP loan program. I know Jacqueline has been working with Marsha Thornton and her team there at Fifth Third. I think she sent emails around to Icy, Carl, and Cliff as well, just for their feedback and input. So just keep that in mind. We are working on something to bring local information to you all to help you get a better understanding of the PPP funds that's available. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I guess you have to raise your hand because I have everybody muted. Okay.
Well, the only thing I just want to add to what Lynn has shared around that PP loan is that the businesses now have up to 24 weeks to utilize those funds. Initially, you know, it was much shorter than that.
Yeah.
But if you have not utilized the funds yet or have not applied, you still, once that application is going in and completed, you have up to, which needs to be done by June 30th, but you have up to 24 weeks to use the funds. Okay.
And I see, this is Lawrence. There are additional stipulations that come with extension to the 24 weeks versus the 8 weeks that was originally identified. And I can't remember off the top of my head what those are, but check into those if you want to extend, you know, to that 24-week period.
Right. Yes, and so those would be really the questions that I would be asking based off of the whoever you're going through, whether that's your bank or whether it's through this BCF fund or whether that's through other entities. Make sure that you're understanding all of the stipulations that are going along with the PP funds, because they are continually changing, they're continually updating, and there's many changes that are happening even as I speak right now. So make sure that you're staying in contact with whatever entity you are utilizing for gaining access to those funds.
I see, this is Rachel. Just a quick interjection for those who are applying. There are, of course, places that are still accepting applications, but one best practice too, if you haven't heard, is to open up a second checking account or separate checking account for those funds so that it's easier to account for how the funds are used and paid, and makes the forgiveness process much easier.
That's a wonderful and great idea, because I think that is certainly a way to keep everything separate and make sure that there's that you know where the spending is going, because that's one of the things associated with the forgiveness that's going to be very, very critical. Thank you, Rachel.
Hey, Lynn,
okay,
can you add that link into the chat, because I didn't get all of it. It went by so fast. Do you mind adding that link in the chat box?
For the BCF?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So right now we were supposed to, Clifford, do you have anything additional that you want to share from an announcement standpoint that's coming from NMSDC that maybe Lynn may not have access to at this point in time?
Yes. The National MBE Input Committee is working on MBE's behalf around the country. And so we have provided the national office with information to carry to the White House to ensure monies make it to our community. And so in the second phase, it's worked out a lot better. And as you can see, NMSDC also now has a relationship in partnership with the Business Consortium Fund to be able to provide funds to MBEs across the country, be they certified or otherwise. Right. So that's one thing. The second thing is around the unrest. In the next week, there will be a statement, and very loud statement made from we minority businesses, not under the guise of the National MBEIC. We're doing this independent of NMSDC. So there is no controversy brought to them around what we look for from major corporations. And so, as many of you've seen, there's been statements made that they are against racism. However, a number of those things we viewed as void of commitment. And so we're looking for specifics, and so they can demonstrate that going forward, to the point of the board. We're asking for the board to look like America, which includes us in it. And your supply chains have been broken. We have fulfilled those, but we don't want to fall backwards where when things get back to what we call normal, we're no longer part of that supply chain. Because when it broke, they sought after anybody and everybody, as well as opportunities. And surely we appreciate all of the development seminars, but we also want to see seminars actually how to do business with you and create the pathway to success and measures as to how we're doing business in your organizations. So those things will be coming forward. You should also know that—
Clifford, when are you expecting the statement to come from the MBEs out in a proposal?
In the next 10 days.
And when?
In the next 10 days.
In the next 10 days, okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you're unaware of it, the National MBE Input Committee has a website, and that website, and I'll make sure it gets into the chat, is nmbeic.org. Again, that's nmbeic.org. And you'll find a lot of information out there based upon those of you who have or have not attended the Opportunity Accelerator. Is an event at the national conference that we hold, and we have chief procurement officers and a number of major executives that come, and we have a litany of information on organizations that have said they wanted to do business with us and how, and just open up the doors. And our objective is to open up Pandora's box, so there's all types of opportunities for us to seize, more than we can handle. And then there will be true growth in our community by us seizing those opportunities. And last but not least, tonight, starting from 5 to 7 or 7:30, the National Minority Supply Development Council's awards gala is occurring online. So it will be a production. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. And I also will be participating, as well as Adrian Trimble, the president of the NMSDC, will be hosting a panel, and I will be on the panel representing MBEs, and Michelle Robinson will be on the panel representing the presidents of the affiliates, and we'll be discussing the state of affairs of minority businesses in this country. And so our segment will start somewhere around 6:15 and go till 6:30. So those are our announcements
Okay.
as of today.
Thank you very much, Clifford, from a
Thank you.
National MBEIC committee group influencing and impacting NMSDC and the businesses certified MBEs associated around the world. We're going to go to the chat, Fireside Chat right now, and it looks like there's about 10 people that are who are participating. So that gives us roughly about between 3 and 4 minutes each. So as we look at the chat box, just raise your hand when you're ready to speak, and we'll start from there. So we've got 3 in the chat box already. I'm not sure who those are. Lynn, can you, let's see. Lucresa?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I already asked my question.
Right.
She,
Oh,
yeah,
you-
she put the link in there. But I will ask if if any of you all are mentioning any links, it's just so much easier if you can put them in the chat. Because trying to write them down, we can't hear, and I know we're going fairly quickly. It just will be so much easier if you guys can drop those links inside the chat.
We will certainly do that.
Thank you.
And we will also try and get notes out to those who are participating so that you can potentially have those. I have done that in the past with all of the other MBEIC meetings that I've had since October of last year. So those who participate gets the notes. So while you have asked your one question, why don't you share with us as to how you're doing and how your business is doing and what kind of impact is this having upon you as well as your customers?
For me, Lucretia?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hi. Well, for me, I'm an event planner and designer. And obviously, we were majorly impacted because for several months, we could not host gatherings, weddings, or events. So for me, it was a challenge in the beginning, but I can honestly say we have about 19 events still on the books. None of our clients have canceled. We've had a few reschedulings, but we have not had any cancellations. And I believe for me, it was because my team and I was proactive in the very beginning of this and trying to educate our clients as we were getting information about COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and our approach is always hand-holding our client through the process anyway. So they felt more comfortable because we were there, always providing updates. I'm also a member of a task force called Ohio Event Safety. And so with that, we've created several petitions. We've had a lot of conversations with the governor. So I had an in as to what was happening in regards to events and large gatherings. So honestly, for me, it hasn't been too much of a challenge. Now, a lot of our clients have been financially impacted. So we still have several invoices out there for clients who are unable to pay us right now. So that obviously hurts with our payroll, but knowing that they're still on the books and the events are upcoming, prayerfully, we will be getting payments in here soon. The biggest challenge for our team is that generally our clients have between 9 to 15 vendors. So trying to re-coordinate dates when you're trying to get 15 people on the same date in the future has been a challenge, but as of now, it has, worked out. So I honestly, I can't complain. And during this downtime, what my team and I did was just worked on a lot of business development because we knew that it was going to open up, the state was going to open up again, and people are going to want to celebrate. Virtual is good for the moment, but people are over that in my industry. They want to get together, hug, and high five and do selfies. So we're looking forward to the turnaround. As of last week, the governor has now allowed dancing. So that was a huge decision that the governor made for the state of Ohio. So it was like, we're now back on. So in July, we have three weddings and a virtual event with, we're the planners for the VBOE, which is going very well. So we're super, super excited about that. So.
Okay, fantastic. Any concerns with the PPP? We'll just list those, or with employees or anything like that. If not, then we're just going to move on to the next person who has their hand up. Nothing around the PPP or employees?
No, not for me.
Okay. Then I think Barb has her hand up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it was my hand, but wanted to ask, I know Cliff mentioned what could we be doing, or someone mentioned what more could the OMSDC and MSDC be doing. With the Opportunity Now group that is making its way across the United States, I know they're dealing with the opportunity zones in particular. But my question is, how has the OMSDC and MSDC engaged the Opportunity Now group in regards to the benefits that can come from the monies and opportunities in the opportunity zones? And then piggybacking on that to say, those of us that aren't in an opportunity zone, but we're in hub zones And I've asked the question, how can we ask them to reconfigure some of the opportunity zones, specifically in Cincinnati? If you're in a hub zone and not an opportunity zone, I'm not really following that logic. So that's a lot right there. But if anyone can address how we're engaging with the Opportunity Now group to benefit this particular group of businesses.
Right. Okay. Overall, your business is going well, and or not well, but as well as can be expected in this COVID environment.
Yes, to address that, of course, construction was considered essential business, so we did not have to stop. We made the adjustments to continue the work. We were fortunate to receive some of the PPP funding, so that helped us to get through the initial rough part. We're still waiting to hear about the EIDL loan, but for the most part, we were able to sustain and continue to move. Our backlog is non-existent, and that's the fearful part right now as far as getting work on the books and to be able to continue what we've already been able to sustain through this time.
Okay. Well, Clifford, I just want to ask you, do you have any response to Barb's question that she asked about the opportunity group and the opportunity zones right now, or is that something that you can take back to not only the MBEIC committee, but also to NMSDC?
Well, without question, I will definitely do that. I am not aware of the Opportunity Now group. But what I am aware of is that NMSDC and the National MBEIC, we're talking to more people around the country about opportunities and really breaking these barriers that we faced for years in the exclusion categories so that it is economic inclusion. And I am pressing very hard for individuals who are for breaking down these barriers, that we must create a business case and not let it be a social case, because social is only going to last as long as this uprising occurs. A business case is going to last as long as it's generating business and profits for organizations. And there's other organizations that are focused on the social side of it, and we should let them carry that banner. And those of us on the business side ought to carry that banner so that we don't mix the two. And the messages are not, what I'll say, confused. So, in that way, so that collaboration is occurring. So for the social injustice, there are groups that are focused on the social injustice, and there are groups that are focused on the economic injustice. And so we will be on this economic injustice side and need to be real clear about what that message is and come with data that basically supports that.
Yeah, and the Opportunity Now group is on the business and the economic side. And so I have gotten connected with that through the financial advisory group. And so what information I have, Clifford, I'll share that with you just based off of some work that I've been doing through that, and also with you as well, Barb. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wants to kind of share what's happening with them, and so that we as the MBEIC committee and OMSDC can better understand and know how we can be resources to the MBEs. Anyone else want to share?
Shirley's hands up.
Lawrence, you're in the box. You're in the chat box.
There's, I think Shirley's hand is up. Shirley Fisher's hand is up, and then Casey's saying he would go.
Okay, well, Shelley, why don't you go next then?
I'll go after Casey.
Well, thank you very much. And it's good seeing all of you virtually. And I wanted to go early because I do have to get off in a few minutes. But as an event photographer, like Lucretia was speaking of, events have been canceled. But for me, all my events have been canceled. And this would have been my big conference summer. And even those who in the spring postponed to the fall. They're starting to cancel the fall, pushing things to 2021. But in the meantime, I'm staying very faithful and hopeful, and God is very good. But even with the portrait work, that stopped. I have an Airbnb. All of those people canceled, but now people are slowly coming back. They're slowly coming to stay in the Airbnb. I'm getting more portrait appointments, and since I'm the photographer, the primary photographer for the city of Columbus, I've been getting a few marketing opportunities. But in the meantime, I was able to apply for unemployment and get that, and then I was able to apply for PPP and got that. And when the PPP runs out, then I'm going to go back to unemployment if I'm not working still. So I'm just balancing everything, and just staying very attuned to all the webinars. Now there are a lot of webinars, but I do pick and choose, but they're very helpful. There's certain groups that I follow, and that is, the Minority Council, like this one, WeBank, and also my trade organization, American Society of Media Photographers. So I really try to control the Zoom meetings around what is very pertinent to me. So it's been very helpful. In fact, Eaton is going to have a great one tomorrow about branding yourself during this time. So okay. I just appreciate all their effort that is being put out there, because what I hear from a lot of people, that they're working harder now than they did when they went into the office. So that's a nice thing, and I appreciate that.
Icy.
Shelley, you're aware that the statistics always say is people who work from home, who truly work from home, they put in hours than the people who work at an office.
Yes.
So that's the statistic that is actually true.
Icy, if I may.
Yes.
Shelley, I applaud what you just shared. Because there are more MBEs, let me correct that. There are more businesses out there not willing to be transparent as you just were, right? And talking about being able to balance the PPP and then unemployment and how it's affecting your business. But what you just shared is information that I can use to share with other MBEs on being able to balance that and how to leverage that. And so what we have done as the National MBE Input Committee is out on our website, and again, it's in the chat, in MBEIC is tips on how to get through this pandemic. And we are getting more information and stories from others like yourself who are saying, here's what I'm doing. And hopefully this information can help others, right? And one of the key things out that is those who have office space is negotiating to the point of getting relief on your rental payments. And because ultimately, if you walk away from your lease, then the landlord loses everything. So it's strategies in there around that, as well as how to increase your payments from your customers. And so I suggest everyone go and read that, because it can be beneficial, as well as if you got any other ideas that can be of assistance to MBEs across this country in terms of strategies to get through this tough period, please share.
Thank you.
Well, and I just want to bounce off of what Clifford has just said, and really thank Lynn for encouraging me to push to have this fireside chat, because it's important that we understand and get a sense of what's the life of our MBEs during this period of time. And I can't speak for all of the MBEs, neither can Lynn. So I am very thankful that you all are willing to be on the conference, on the webinar today, as well as to share. So thank you. I think the next person was Casey.
Yep.
Okay.
Shelley, I'm glad to be going after you, because our story is the same. And I appreciate, as Cliff said, I appreciate you sharing, because we are the same. My consulting business, as most of you know, you heard me talk about it. I do consulting for small and mid-sized businesses around strategy, strategic planning, executive development, process improvement, and cash flow management. And since COVID, my client base has pretty much dried up. I had a couple clients that I had just finished projects for, and a couple clients I was proposing to do projects for. So I've gone from hero to zero, except I have a couple of places where I'm actually on boards of paid boards, thank goodness, thank the Lord, that I'm on a paid board of two companies, one a $30 million company. It's not an MBE, but it's a precision manufacturing company that I've been on their board for 2 years. And they pay me quite well to be on their board. So that's been a blessing that I do have income from that. And I just joined another board of a company as well, non-MBE, that helps me in that role. But I've been doing a lot of webinars. If you're on my LinkedIn page, you've probably seen articles that I've been writing. I write a lot of articles around leadership, strategic planning. I put them on LinkedIn. So I've been in the process. I'm actually in the process of doing one about leadership in a remote environment, which is the next one's going to come out here in a couple of weeks. And then Lawrence has signed me up, got me involved in for all of you that were here last month, you met Paul Fisher from the Hamilton County Development Corporation. I ended up, with Lawrence's help, I am now the volunteer chairperson for that subcommittee. Thank you, Lawrence. So doing quite well, but there's a lot of webinars, as Shelley said. I've been doing webinars on leadership strategy, and I'm going to get off exactly at 2 o'clock to join another webinar with the Table Group. So they've been doing webinars for small consulting businesses around how to help your clients. So I've been doing that exactly, and a lot of prayer, so that I know that as post-COVID, a lot of people will need my services as they figure out how to strategically move from where they were to where they want to be. So, and I look forward to working with all of you on the call at some point in time. So that's about it for me.
Okay, well, thank you, Casey. Who else hand is up? Lawrence.
Was next.
You put my hand. Yeah, you put my hand up. That's fine. And you are very welcome, Casey.
I need to.
And I appreciate you signing up for the chair role, the OIC. For us, it's been a mixed bag. We are busier than ever, but in our business, we have some retainer clients who, in that retainer setup, we didn't anticipate a pandemic coming to fruition, which the pandemic fits right into our core services to respond to their needs. So with that, my margins are thinner because we're spending more time on those clients. Then we have another set of clients who definitely need the support, but their ability to pay may be suspect, right? And so trying to balance out helping them stay afloat so there's future revenue, but not doing so much that we are out and not being paid. Then there's another set of clients who are in that Fortune 500. They're experiencing hardship, but it's different, right? They have reserves and cash, and with that group, they are really subsidizing us to do work with the other ones because they are able to write the checks and pay timely, or even pay up front for that matter. For Riskversity being a risk management and insurance consulting firm, the pandemic fits squarely into what we promote, to our prospects and clients, and helping them identify, manage, and prepare for risk. So this is spot on. It's just a bit of a quirky climate to navigate all those in need with all those that can pay and pay timely. But it's also allowed me to be in a position to see some of these issues, and then, as we talked about in other fireside chats and other meetings amongst this group, is to I refer people, right? And Clifford's on the call today. I had a client that had an IT issue that we knew what it was, and my first call was to him to say, hey, can you get on the phone with him and try to make this thing work and happen. So in this time, it's also still being really diligent and advocating for each other when we know that somebody is in need and has the opportunity to then work with one of our brothers or sisters in the space to to put their name in front of them and be able to rep them well, so that phone conversation can happen. And so in doing that, and Clifford's Clifford will do this. Say, hey, I'm gonna follow up with you, let you know where things are and where they stand. And so that's a part that not everybody does. And so when somebody puts you out there for as a referral base, be sure to keep them in the loop for two reasons. One, they understand where it is in the process, but two, they can advocate for you if there is a slowdown of some sort on that decision making process. So to sum it up, I'm busy. I did make time for this call because this is like church. Got to be here to understand and hear and see to make sure that we can help each other out. And Lynn and I have been emailing back and forth, trying to help other people out on the side. So if you need me, call me. If I have a resource, it's your resource. I think if you know me, you understand that's how I operate. It is for the greater good of all of us, those that I know or those that I don't know. If I can help, I will help, because I know the good Lord will bless me in the future if I do the right thing for people. So with that, I'll go back on mute.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to ask you one question. You talked about you have that certain group of clients who also may be able to pay for, is it their subcontractor? Is it their supply base, or is it their own cells that they are paying for?
I think it's a mix there, Icy, because with COVID-19 and some of these clients weren't prepared as they try to reopen or modify their work environment. Okay. There's a substantial amount of expense that no one was really prepared for to have to put out in order to be operational. And through when you're already running on thin margin or cash a little bit tight, you've been off work or you've been shut down, or your vendors, your customers have slowed down, that cash flow is far less. And so trying to, what we call, rob Peter to pay Paul scenario is how is that happening? And it's a different conversation with each company. It's not a one answer. So sorry, I don't have one for you.
Okay, I see Uchi's hand up.
Yeah, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Icy. Yeah, we've been very busy from a strategic standpoint. We've been going after, let me back up. Their timing was good. We did a project for the state. In fact, we got paid before the shutdown. So that was really, really, really a godsend. You see, we did a project for the state that our payment came in about end of February and then early March. So that gave us a headwind to ride some of the storms. And the other thing that has been very helpful, keeping our positive spirit, is we've been doing some global bids with one of our, some of our major global customers. And I think for the MBEIC, what happened, how we were able to do that, they didn't even look at our company specific. They looked at individual experience and skill sets. You see, the technology was what I've done for over 20 years. You see, so they weren't looking at my company. They were like, Uche, we know you can put a team together. You know this technology more than anybody. So we want you to bid for this. We haven't gotten it, but it was, we were able to do it, and I was able to pull colleagues globally, to make this happen. So it kept us. It was almost 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks, of hard work, 24 hours to do that. The other thing also we are doing now is we are not only looking at our core area, like Casey said, we are looking at adjacencies, keep our eyes and ears open. There are other opportunities, maybe small, big, with maybe the government, with other areas, other institutions, some grants that at least keep the cash flow no matter how little, and then keep you qualitatively busy, you see. So that has been helpful. And what I've been thinking, you know, what Shelley says, Shelley, I don't know if you can pivot. We can do a website update because I want to help MBEs to where I can. I don't need a website, but you know, if it's something that you can pivot, we can come up with, it might not be a lot of money, but something, you know, to take a look at our website. It's an engineering website, you see, and we'll be willing to do that if it's something that you can do, just to, you know, keep everybody, put each other as we ride this wave, you know. But overall, the outlook looks good, and our advice is when this thing turns around, there's going to be a huge demand, especially from the engineering services and, you know, manufacturing services. It's going to be a huge ramp up. So we should, as difficult as it is, if we try, we need to try to just survive. And we will be, when the ramp up comes, you know, we're going to be busy. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there another hand up?
I don't see one.
I think I saw Danny Don on, and Rachel, have you shared?
No, I have not shared at this point. Thanks so much for having me on. It's interesting to see. It's, of course, as like all has been a challenge, although for us been quite busy managing through PPP. A little bit of background, I was asked to lead one of our national teams throughout our PPP process, and thankfully for us, through the first round, we completed the second most PPP applications out of all 5,000 banks. Definitely a credit to the technology, and we are still taking applications to this day, with definitely a focus on minority businesses and nonprofits. So if you are aware of someone that needs to still apply for PPP, definitely let me know and send them my way. You know, it could be independent contractors, sole proprietors. We'll make sure that they get taken care of if they already don't have a relationship or access to get that done. Another interesting turn is that I've also been named, so we have a number of employee resource groups across key banks and diversity inclusion, and prior to all of the civil unrest, I have been named a co-chair from our national chapter of business innovation for Black-owned businesses, African Americans, et cetera, across our footprint. So that's everything from every line of business, from consumer to our capital markets, investment trusts, commercial banking. So I really I was thankful for being invited today, because I think it's so important to hear, especially from the business community and all of you, to understand what the challenges are from my perspective, and having met and known so many of you already, some of the challenges that we have seen and heard about. And I echo Clifford, your comments about transparency. You know, one of the things that I've noticed is the lack of transparency and trust, especially with your banking relationships. And it's going to be extremely important to figure out how do we break down those walls and barriers, because, you know, when I look at, for me, I'm a commercial banker by trade, and some of our clients and strategies that we're using, we have to be able to get access to capital and investment and advisory, and look at some of the technology that's being employed to increase that liquidity and cash flow that's just so important to your business, and really having that financial advisor in your corner, along with your, of course, risk and CPA and attorneys and all of that. But definitely your banker should be known to you, no matter how small your company is, no matter how large it is. We need to make sure that we start to continue to build those relationships and figure out how we can be impactful and assist with growing these businesses and increasing the wealth in our community.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I think every MBE in here has your name and information and know where you live. Is that correct?
Yes, I think so. I will put my phone number and email address in here just in case you need it or you need to forward it on to someone if they're still looking for funds. So.
Appreciate that. I know there's a Danny Dunn. Danny Dunn?
Hey, well, I see this is Dan Dunn that you, me, you maybe you've got,
Hey,
got
Dan,
I got
how
a
you
little
doing?
different. So hello everyone. This is Dan Dunn and I was a former on the board of trustees for the OMSDC and former vice chair. And I retired from Taylor Communications the end of March and am working for the OMSDC on a volunteer basis, been assisting with the VBOE. So I received the email and wanted to jump on and hear all of the perspectives about what is real today. And
Okay.
So that was solely I apologize for my lateness in jumping on, but
Oh no, that's okay. Glad you're here.
it's great to see you, Clifford. It's great to see everyone, and just my hello, and we're going to deliver just an outstanding VBOE here in about a month or so, a little over a month. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. There's a Kevin Kellum.
That would be me. How are you?
Hello there, Kevin. How you doing?
Good, Icy. Yeah, we when you look at High Tower Petroleum Company and the affiliates, HP Energy is my primary focus. We were essential, so we cranked it out during the whole time. High Tower Petroleum got hit pretty hard for about 2 weeks. Obviously, with everybody staying at home, nobody was driving cars, therefore there was no gasoline being burned. So, and the High Towers had to lay off a few folks. But the good news is we've already hired them all back, and we're actually looking to hire a few more people because of the large concerns. Hondas, the GMs, the Fords have all come back on board, and we're swamped on the petroleum side. So that's the good news. For there, the other affiliates, including HP Energy, we all stayed afloat. We stayed busy. Everybody was fortunate. HP Energy, which again I spend most of my time with, we had a nice backlog that carried us through this. All the companies were able to manage the PPE immediately, so we didn't have any trouble getting funded from Jump Street. Gary did a real nice job of getting everybody situated there, so the financial pressures weren't as great as it may have been for some. And we continue to go. We're not treading water. We're in a little dinghy for as far as HP Energy, but we're staying dry and continuing on. But yeah, we were blessed through this. As I said, we had the major downturn for the big company, but right now we more than turned the corner. We climbed the mountain on the fuel side. It's going really good. And HP Energy, our backlog fortunately was deep enough that we're still busy. Highmark Construction has been busy, and they've just taken on some new opportunities as well. So very fortunate with High Tower Petroleum and the affiliates.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Did we miss anyone who wants to share? Well, I'm going to do a quick little summary, and then I'm going to open it back up to Lynn to see if she has any lasting remarks before we close out the webinar. Again, I just want to thank everyone who took the time out today to be a part of this. As the part of the MBEIC committee here in the greater Cincinnati area, our intent again is to re-engage all of the MBEs across the Cincinnati area so that we are learning from each other, we are growing from each other, and we're building capacity and capability to impact this economic engine that's the greater Ohio, greater Cincinnati, and then of course Ohio and the U.S. But first of all, our intent is just to re-engage and really start to understand what each of the businesses are doing so that we are a resource to each other, and that our voice is heard across the greater Cincinnati area about how things are going, how things are being impacted, and our role and our influence in helping to make that happen. The second thing that I wanted to just, at least from things that I'm hearing out there, is because of this pandemic, what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of corporations who have, I'll call it, loosened their purchasing requirements or the stringent requirements that they've had on prior to COVID-19. And so one of the things I'll ask Clifford if he would take that back to the MBEIC committee and include that in, discussions around, if corporations are doing this in this crisis because of the COVID-19, why aren't those part of an ongoing policies and procedures versus being so stringent on small businesses, primarily minority-owned businesses, when we get back to the norm?
We're having that conversation today.
You're having that conversation, okay.
Starting with the NMSDC corporate members,
Mm-hmm.
and because the request is open the door to all opportunities in the organization.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It does not hurt you by doing so.
Mm-hmm.
And you're limiting since you're asking for innovation, you're limiting the opportunity for innovation.
Right.
And just so everyone knows, the way I communicate this that corps seem to get is that once upon a time, baseball did not look like it does today.
Yes.
But when baseball permitted the best to play,
right,
it began to look more like America does today.
Mm-hmm.
And when the first player that didn't look like everybody else was there, all the stadiums sold out.
Mm-hmm.
That same year, baseball made more money than it had in years.
Right.
And that same player that did not look like everybody else got Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the best of those who entered that particular year.
Right.
I simply say to them, when we show up, we're asking to try out for the team. We're not asking you to put us on the team. We're asking to try out. And when we try out, be honest with us on why we made the team or why we didn't make the team, so we can get better at being on the team or striving to be part of the team. And when the pandemic hit, the supply chain broke. And there was some Jackie Robinsons that showed up for some of these corporations that they're not going to let go, as Dan pulls up his photo. It is without question. And so by being able to share it in that way,
absolutely,
they're beginning to accept it, opposed to we're coming saying we demand to be in. This isn't a demand. The issue is, per the Hackett report, those who have the most diverse supply chain are far more profitable than companies that don't. So again, as I shared with one CPO, do you have a championship supply chain? If not, I'm sure it's not diverse.
Yeah, and I just wanted to reinforce, as you're having those conversations, the MBEIC committee or MBEIC group is having those conversations with NMSDC as well as all of those corporations. Make sure that this becomes a part of that, because we are playing a major role in this pandemic crisis. Yes. And we have filled gaps that large corporations could not fill. So don't put us back out into the pasture. Right. Keep us in the supply chain.
Agree. And also asking those same corps to convince their tier ones to do the same.
Absolutely. So that's all I wanted to do. And so I'm gonna turn it back to Lynn. Lynn, do you have any lasting comments you want to make, or before we close out? Because it's right at 2 o'clock.
just want to thank everyone for their participation and their honesty and their feedback. I would like to ask that the current participants invite someone else that's not currently participating to be a part of the next meeting, even if they're not in the Cincinnati area. We cover the whole state of Ohio, so encourage them to go to one of the other MBEIC meetings to get involved, because it will make a large difference. I don't think you're limited to which one you attend, so please feel free to attend all of them if you can, because it's good for all of us to understand what's happening in each different geographical region, because who knows, you may get an opportunity in Northern Indiana where you may need to know what's going on in Northern Indiana. I'm thinking about mid-states. Northern Ohio, where you'll need to know what's going on in Northern Ohio. But I do just want to ask everyone to please be sure that you invite someone to come out and participate, because we need you, and we need to know what it is that you need from us, meaning the OMSDC. That's all I have.
If there are no other questions or input for this, we're going to close this webinar down. Thank you all again. You all
Great.
have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful
Icy.
rest of the day.
Thank you, guys.
And, take care and stay
Great
safe.
job. Thanks, Icy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a
Thank
good day.
you.
Bye-bye.
I was just telling them thank you. That's like I was still listening.